Welcome back to On the Chain. Now, tonight isn't about crypto hype. You can watch the crypto YouTube fanboys for that one. It's about power. That's it. Who controls money? Who controls the access? And why that control is starting to crack.
Because transparency, as you might know, is kind of dangerous, not for people, but for the power brokers. And when markets open, when value can move freely, when permission isn't required, systems built on control, over taxation, and manipulation start to go into panic mode. And they are fighting back.
This is why crypto assets like XRP, the XRPL, are different from everything else out there, not because of price, because it sits at the center of a shift towards real markets, real assets, and real economic activity.
Energy, borders, production, demographics, these aren't just random headlines, they're pressure points. They decide who produces value and who gets control of it.
That's right. I like that. Now, DeFi, we hear a lot of talk about the DeFi and crypto. Now, it's not just a trend. It's actually all about freedom. And Chip and I talk about that often. DeFi equals freedom. Freedom is the one thing that these centralized systems that are controlling and manipulating and trying to hold on to their power, they just can't tolerate that freedom.
Yeah, and that's why political lines are hardening. That's why narratives are basically collapsing. And that's why this moment matters more than ever.
That's right. This isn't about speculation. It's about realignment. The movie's just getting started. So if you're ready, man, let's get into this.
Yeah, and the movie, I think we're getting to the best part of the movie, when the explosions start happening. I think we're getting to that part of the movie, the good part. Through the boring stuff, character development, we're at the good part. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome everybody on the chain. If you saw that amazing banger interview we had yesterday, that was fantastic. Anados Finance, great time. Great. I love the project. I love those guys having them on, and we did have a little bit of fun at the end, Jeff. That was a lot of fun. That was good. The band, that was kind of never. Sometimes it's going to land. You never know how that's going to land. It's either going to be a hit or it's going to be like a fart in church. You just never know. It's just not going to. You just never know how it's going to go.
That was like a top 10 hit.
It was great. Well, the best thing was we didn't have them live to see the reactions, but we could see the reactions. They were rolling. They were dying. They loved it. Yeah, 100%, man. Let's not get into that. The thing what it was, people just see the one call. Dude, there's like 5 or 6 of them. A guy put together a compilation, holding in the backfield while the running back's running by, holding in the end zone, grabbing an arm, no call, making up rules as you go along. People posted 4 or 5 different times when that same thing happened. It's just insane. But it's fixed, man. It's absolutely 100% fixed. We saw it happen to the Lions in their game. A couple weird calls happened, but we're seeing it a lot. The narratives are, hey, this is the team who want to go to the Super Bowl. It's clear that they want the Patriots to go on the AFC side. And all of a sudden, Bo Nix takes a knee and then breaks a bone in his foot. You know what I call that? I call it karma, bitches. And I call that team's going to get their asses blown out pretty hard. And that coach is an asshole. Let's face it. Peyton is one of the biggest asshole coaches in the NFL. And don't worry, karma seems to take care of these people pretty well. So it's rough, man. It was a rough day all day long, and it's just horrific what happened in that game. But that's what it is, man. NFL fixes games. That's what they do. You've been hearing this narrative for a long time, but it happens every single year. Happened last year. The Bills are going to the Super Bowl. Oh, they take the ball 2 yards. They spot it 2 yards back. They, it's just, this is the constant thing you gotta,
exactly
you gotta put up with
over and over and over again.
Do you love our Bills? Hell yeah, we love the Bills, and it's sad, man. I've been a Bills fan for too many years, Jeff, and I'm determined that that's the one thing that I need before I exit the earth is, to get a Super Bowl. So it wasn't too many. See, here's the thing. He had too many picks, right? But then he rallied back from 23 to 10. Boom, just like that. They were in the game. You could talk about picks all day, but you're talking about Josh Allen here, not talking about your regular retrograde shit quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. who's getting $2 million less a year than Josh Allen. Okay.
Mm.
If you rally back and you put yourself in a position to win, picks never matter, but shitty calls where you call the game and change the course of the game, that matters. So you could say all kinds of things. You could do this, that, but that trade him to Miami. Yeah, you'd love him to go to Miami. Miami's a shit team. Miami's going to be another train wreck this year. I don't care who they get. It's going to be a train wreck because they either got to take Tua and they got to figure out to trade him. He's too much money. He's making $52 or $53 million a year. It's an absolute disaster. Anyway, we're going to get to this.
Try being a Browns fan. Don't need to rig anything against them.
No, you don't. But try losing 4 Super Bowls in a row. I don't care what you talk about. There will never be the pain of that. I don't care how bad the Browns are. You're never going to get that kind of pound. But the Browns are, see, as a Bills fan growing up, living up in Western New York, we always had a saying. And the saying was, at least we're not the Browns. And we said, you know, the ones by the mistake by the lake, that's what we used to call them, mistake by the lake, because that's what the Browns always were. So we always had a little bit of relief because the Browns were always there.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about the Lions
Talked
too.
about the Lions. I mean, the Lions, I really thought they were going to the Super Bowl this year. I think I saw, yeah, it's just sad to see what happened to the Lions. They just
had so many injuries too. They weren't playing their A game.
Bills had 16 guys out. They're still in the game. That's the best part. They say, oh, they don't have a defense. Oh, don't worry. The number one offense against the run. Meanwhile, they put up 160 yards against they've held every other team to 90 or less. So I'm not buying any stats. Forget about all of them. It's all bullshit. The whole thing is fixed. It's a big illusion. They choose who they want, and the woke NFL is more woke than ever. The stupid little messages they have all the time. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it, man.
That's right. The Vikings are going to be playing in Somalia next year.
They might be playing in Somalia next year. That's a good point. The Vikings. They're called the Vikings. That's too much.
We call it the Somalians.
Well, tomorrow night is the big game. Who do you guys have for tomorrow night? The college final. University of Miami versus the Hoosiers. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
All about the U. University of Miami. We'll see, man. It was funny. They were interviewed. What's that quarterback's name from the university? They said, "Did you have class yet today?" They were interviewing him on Friday. Did you have class today? He goes, "I graduated 2 years ago." He goes, "I finished 2 years ago." He's still playing. I mean, you should be able to play ball if you like. The Lions beat Chicago twice this year. Exactly.
Yep.
Third and fourth stringers in the O-line, entire defense. This is how crazy it is, man. That's how Pirates are in Pittsburgh. That's a baseball team. Yeah, Indiana Hoosiers. I don't know, man. You know, it's interesting. A lot of people think Mendoza is going to be the number one pick. We'll see what happens there. I don't know if he's going to be one pick. Carson Beck, yeah. Carson Beck's going to be going into the NFL this next year too. Hoosiers. I don't know, man. I hope it's a good game. That's what I hope. I hope it's a good game, and I hope there aren't stupid penalties. You know, when one of the teams is driving downfield, like, and just to kind of stop them and hold them up. You know. By the way, the score is 10-10 in Chicago.
On the grid, our new show.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just pissed. It's time. I'm switching out I'm taking Josh Allen down in my studio. I'm gonna retire him until next year, and then I need to put up. I have something new. I have something new for that spot, so I'll put that up on the next show, maybe, or whatever. I'm okay with it being there.
You should put a badass Yeti over there.
Maybe sweet. That too. Maybe that too. The gridiron on the gridiron. Listen, we try to talk about everything but crypto, because frankly, I'm getting a little bored of it.
Keep
his ass up there. I might keep his ass up there, but you know, it's just like when it's football season. To me, football season's over. I don't care who wins. I don't care anything. I give a shit about that. I'll care when the draft comes, and I'll start paying attention in July when they go to camp. And other than that, I could care less. But I do believe. Look, Elway. How old was Elway? Do you guys know how old John Elway was when he won the Super Bowl finally? I think I want to see he was like in his early 30s, mid 30s. He was older. I know that. I know he was older. So I don't know how old he was when he actually won. Somebody probably can figure that out. I knew crypto had a tank in it. Sold XRP at 218. Set a buy order at 186, and it filled. Made more XRP today. Good for you, Joe.
There you go. Good one. Nice.
Terrific. That's what it's all about. When that happens, that's a reason to celebrate. Be watching for my elliptical. Got to get some cardio in. Of course, man. He's
do it.
36. All right. Interesting, dude. Very
Casino
good.
coin.
36.
Is
Josh
Casino
has
Coin
6
still around?
years. Huh?
I didn't know
Anyone-
Casino Coin was around.
Yeah, it's still around.
Is it?
Yeah.
Man.
Speaking of gambling, speaking of predictions, speaking of thinking about stuff, there's something brand new for the XRPL. We'll jump right into that in just a few seconds. Jeff, we got this one story that you're going to head up. Take this one over because you got some comments on that. Go ahead and do it.
I'm just going to put it up right now. And I think this is really poignant, across the board. So, DS Dirt from X Spectre has been putting out he's been putting out such great commentary lately.
Amazing.
Just one after another. And so, I commented on a few of them, and this, I was reading through this, and it was just, really great, because as he starts really looking at what, the metaverse, and this kind of drilled down into a further conversation, but it was also based on some other things that he posted. It's about, what are people actually building in the crypto space? And we even touched on it a little bit yesterday in the call. Are you building a solution to an existing problem, or are you building a solution and then looking for a problem to fit it into, or are you trying to reinvent a wheel that doesn't need to be reinvented? And we're talking about that versus, if you invent something and you're way early, and it needs more time for the rest of the industry to catch up. But if you're trying to invent something that doesn't need, it doesn't have to be put in there, you're trying to innovate something that's not needed. Or again, if you're trying to reinvent a wheel that's not broken. And so, kind of breaking it down from there, so I was looking at, how his interpretation kind of the website and where that went and what it took to actually build out a website, right? It wasn't just one protocol. There's so much that is orchestrated into what we need to do from an online experience perspective. And if you think about way back, with what Akamai did and all the ways that they were able to expand on our faster experience of interacting with the internet, and so here, we kind of go into it. And one of the things that he had mentioned here is these metaverses, they were trying to be World of Warcraft instead of the web. But I kind of look at it even a little bit further, Chip. And this is where I think, we need to get a little bit of workshopping here. Because so number one, inventing something that's not needed, or, a solution, looking for the problem. But here I said, to Dirk, you guys are bringing innovation. And especially with some of the things that he's talking about now, you're 100% spot on with why the majority of the metaverse fails, because they tried to reinvent the gaming wheel, and gaming isn't broken. But they also tried to create something in these metaverses that nobody's ever wanted, right? PlayStation did it. And maybe they used to have, I forget what that game was called. There was a kind of like a real world game and like in world money and stuff like that. Then you have like Final Fantasy, and there's all these different games that there's an objective to the game, but like a hangout, Sony PlayStation tried it and tried to create their hangout experience. And I don't know. I don't think it really became all that successful. And that was kind of like an in-game or in-world PlayStation world kind of metaverse. It wasn't really necessary, wasn't really needed. But that's the whole point, is that all these games that have been building in crypto are trying to reinvent gaming, but that's not the problem. Where gaming needed to be fixed was through innovation. It was how the assets themselves in the game were being handled and managed, right? So like the buying and selling of assets that you win in a game, how can you transact that in the open market without being in-game silo, and without going to some sort of a Chinese third-party website like a lot of the games did. Then you'd have to come back, meet in-game, and you could buy those assets off-game for a high price. But it was done in kind of a weird way. But that to me was like a broken component to it. Obviously, that's just like one little, focus, if you kind of micro focus in on something. But I thought Dirk, one thing that he commented, he said, it took me a while to conclude this. He said, every metaverse tried to answer, how do we get users? And then he said, what should the real question be? And that's right. I mean, if you don't have a solution, the users aren't going to come if it's not an exciting place. So what are your thoughts? If you were to give kind of your 2 cents on that, what is the real question, in the building maybe, within a metaverse or outside the metaverse?
Well, I think another thing that Dirk's doing really cool is he's pivoting towards education, which I think is really a great application of how he's doing. Not only for university but just for learning, because that's the type of setting you're going to have. So it kind of makes sense inside of a metaverse, and also all the things you can access in the metaverse. So I think by him attacking that, and again, that's something that's really needed and necessary and a good thing, versus something where, again, trying to figure out what the problem is. And we saw like Futureverse fail. They had every licensing deal, they had FIFA, they had everything, and they failed. And I know Ripple had put 50 along with a bunch of other VCs, put like $50 million into it, but I think they raised well over $100 million, where Dirk pretty much has been bootstrapping this entire thing. Sure, some of the NFT sales have sort of funded it, but he just did a free mint where he gave back with some artists NFTs that he was able to just do a free mint, to give back to the community and thank the community. And this is how a true entrepreneur who understands and listens to what people are looking for and what they need really demonstrates. And apparently he sent me some instructions on, and I guess I haven't tried them yet, but how I can get my Mac to work through a browser with that, because I've never been able to go in there because I don't have a PC and my wife doesn't have a PC and I'm not buying one for that. So it's like, I have to have, something. But no, I mean, the points you made were so spot on and valid. And it's funny because after a lot of these things have been talked about, he's really the last one standing. And that's why it kind of came up in yesterday's show. We talked about it, with Panos. And, we said, hey, if you're, it's okay to say like, boom, 589, Lambo, great. So you're sitting on your XRP, and what are you doing with it? Are you supporting projects? No. Are you getting involved in a ZAO? No. What are you doing? So shut up. If you don't see a price rise, you're doing nothing to make it happen. So you guys can all just sit around and spin and enjoy it. XRP Hollywood says, who heard Hugo today? I'd heard Hugo on the Bearable Bull. By the way, Hugo promised me, and we met at Swell, and I just checked my WhatsApp because I sent him a message. He's like, Chip, you have WhatsApp? I'm like, yeah, I have WhatsApp. He goes, you're like the only American that has it. I go, dude, I have a lot of friends in the UK and also throughout Europe. And for some reason, you guys like 15-year-old technology. I don't know. None of us use it. My friends all use Signal, or, it's funny when I was in Japan, they use Line. That's another one. But it's like WhatsApp. Yeah, that's like, that is so 2010, right? So apparently they love it and they use it. But Hugo did say he's going to come on the show. We're going to have an amazing interview with him when he does come on. Just trying to schedule something. We got some other good notables lined up as well. But Hugo, I really had a great time chatting with him, and I just was one-on-one with him like for 15 or 20 minutes, and it was really phenomenal. It was really a great, and we were drinking beers together, so nothing could be better than that. So drinking beer, hanging out with Hugo, I really have been bullish on his on Flare, and the fact that what he's about to do with XRP and his vision is incredible. So I can't wait to get him on so Jeff and I can kind of drill down a little bit further on that. So that'll be a lot of fun. But
that will be. And so Chad brought up, what value can we bring to the user? And this is the whole point. If we're going to, because Zober said, ETH metas are on ETH, not on XRP, of course. And so maybe they have some metaverse. But I think overall the experience within the metaverse if there's going to be a metaverse, there's definitely, a possible B2B play or B2C play when it comes to the education component, bringing people together from that side of it. It could be interesting. You want it to be easy. I think that's a big part of with the metaverse. Can you access it through a browser? Do people really want to download things? If it's app driven and you can access through an app, but trying to download software on a computer, creating it more in a gaming kind of environment, people are on the go. They want simple access. That's what's nice about, a podcast. You listen to it. You can watch a YouTube video. You don't need a headset. You don't need you don't have to sit in front of a PC tied to a PC. It's people want simplicity in their life, just like we talked about yesterday when it came to the Anados wallet, simplifying the crypto purchasing process for Main Street. People want easy. They want norm. You don't need more complexity. If you're not a gamer, you're not going in the metaverse. I'm sorry. It's just not necessarily going to happen. However, if there's some, benefit to going into that environment, which I could definitely see it. Now, here's one interesting example. I was at the shooting range today, and a buddy of mine he has the headset. There's a program and a special gun, and you go into this environment and you're actually moving, and it brings you through different shooting drills. And the gun they send you is a replica representation of the gun that you normally shoot. It has the same feel and everything to it. And you can walk around in an environment, and it'll have targets. You'll do room clearing, and you have friendlies and enemy combatant to clear when you do a room clear. So to me, that's interesting. So that's kind of a gaming experience, which we have like online gaming experiences that have been around for quite a long time that can simulate. But imagine it being more from an instructive perspective. And that's where you said Dirk and Expect are kind of moving in the education realm. Imagine if you're able to meet up with your instructor in this kind of metaverse environment, but you've got the headset and you've got your app on your phone, or however you're interacting with it. Do you need to go to another, but imagine you can go in and meet with an instructor, and he can run you through drills in this kind of real environment. And there's a representation in the metaverse of his, persona, of his avatar. And so you're able to interact, and he can kind of drill and show you. To me, that would be really interesting. From that perspective, it breaks the barrier of distance to a different level. And it takes us Zoom video type conferences into an interesting kind of environment.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've seen that. I watched a video on that the other day. It's really awesome.
Yeah, so now I'm gonna have to probably get one of those and see how that works. So I'm gonna test this out.
So Axiom, of course, you remember Shen. We met Shen, who was at the time doing an NFT project, but we met Shen. We were in Australia. So this is one of Shen's projects that's launching, which is pretty cool. For years, the XRP community's debated timelines, catalysts, IPOs, lawsuits, ISO standards, bank integrations, regulatory moves, but all that energy only lived on Twitter threads, YouTube comments, and Discord predictions. Axiom Protocol turns that culture into real markets. No new token, no new learning curve. Just bring the XRP you already hold and trade on the beliefs you talk about every day. Put your money where your mouth is, more or less. Axiom's the cleanest way for XRP holders to finally put the money behind the ideas they've argued about for a decade, where conviction meets liquidity, where speculation becomes a market, where being right matters and being wrong has a cost. Axiom is where XRP holders bet on the future. So we're going to take a little bit look at that, which I think is going to be kind of cool for the community. We've got other prediction markets that become very, very big. But let's take a look at this video movie. Let's watch a movie, Jeff. I don't know why I said movie. But let's watch this. It's I don't think there's any talking on it, but it's just you guys can take a look at it, and then we'll kind of circle back and then jump into it. So I'm just going to read these because for the audio folks listening. You said XRP was going to be big. Bunch of flashes. You said the lawsuit didn't matter. You've been predicting this for years. Why aren't you trading on it? If you believe it, prove it. Axiom, the prediction market built for XRP holders. Deposit XRP, discover markets, trade the predictions you already hold. And then flashes a little bunch. You didn't read about it. Trade it. XRP higher or lower than $2. That's 30 days. Pushing against the crowd. Ethereum higher or lower. Bitcoin higher or lower than 90,000 on January 10th. Football. August stuff. Bitcoin higher or lower. You basically trade on all this. Your XRP. Put your money where your mouth is.
Turn the music off. Wow.
Yeah, it was too much. The music was a little bit too much. A little bit heavy on the music area. But jumping into this here, we're going to take a look at it. This is kind of how it works right here. So first of all, 4 steps to put your conviction where it counts. Number 1, predict. You can choose the outcome of an asset price or an event outcome. Wager. You can wager your XRP. Your capital goes into the outcome pool. resolve, the markets resolve via decentralized consensus, and then earn. Winners take the pool, real yield, no inflation. Talk is cheap, prove it. Joins thousands of XRP holders preparing to bet on the future. No additional assets needed, just your conviction. So there's that bit of it. And
you're deciding if it's going up or down.
Yeah, pretty much. Just like all these other, just like Kashi, it's basically the whole same thing, Is it going to be higher or lower on by a certain date? When the date happens, you lose. If you lose, boom, here goes your XRP. But if you win, it's funny. The Moon Boys won't be anywhere near this because put your money where your mouth is. All right, you really believe it? Here's a link. Let's see how much you're going to wager on it.
That's it. Yeah.
Jake Claver said before the December 31st, 2025, XRP hit $100. Okay, well there you go. Will it hit $100? Go ahead.
You wagering on that?
Go wager 100,000 XRP. Let's see what you got. This is basically, so it's going live basically in 7 hours, 21 minutes. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it will be live. New standard for the truth, built different, no native token, tiered parimutuel, and then a decentralized resolution. So
is this built on the XRPL?
It is.
There you go.
I believe it is. And then thought that was pretty badass, to be honest with you. And it's good that Shen is doing some cool projects. So good guy.
Yeah. Yep. Cash Velocity said that's what we need, more betting.
Whales loving it. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. So we'll see. But that's part of it. It's like, oh, you believe this so much? Okay. Let's see. Let's see if you believe it. Something else, I saw another interesting article here, which is building the agentic economy on the XRP ledger. And what I do is I kind of just broke this down on some talking points here, because AI agents evolve from simple assistants and autonomous economic actors. They move money, manage portfolios, and settle transactions on their own. And as the shift accelerates, digital assets become more of an infrastructure. So some kind of ideas behind this is AI agents are beginning to execute real financial actions. You think about agentic, an agentic agent is different from a human thing where you type in something or you say something and then it spits an answer back. Agentic can actually go out there and perform tasks. An agent, based on a bunch of instructions, can go out there and perform stuff. And so these agentic agents are going to be coming into the this one's happened to be built on the XRP ledger, but be able to execute financial tasks. Because Gartner projects the autonomous agent economy could reach 30 trillion, Jeff, by 2030.
Right. I think it could happen pretty quick if they can, figure out how to leverage it the right way. But why not? You could put all sorts of, on different websites. You're looking for certain parameters to hit, and you get notification where you can trade based on certain parameter. But why not have an agent that's scouring the market, looking for specific stocks that meet a certain equation? So you can say, here's my equation. I want you to hit, trigger an alert if it hits it throughout the day. Find me this basket of stocks, and then, trade. Why not? If your agent can trade for you, buy when all these conditions line up and it's hitting it at every moment. That's something you can't do. You can have all your parameters and you're going to have to physically, respond to notifications, and then it might be too late. So if you can have agent, it's on your trading platform and looking at all these micro changes and getting ready on a predictive perspective, and boom, it triggers a buy. I mean, that would be great. Then you have a trigger a sell. I mean, it's really, it's a game changing solution. There's so much you can do with it.
Well, especially machine to machine. These are all, look at all these companies. You got MasterCard. They went ahead and they launched Agent Pay. Yeah, Google went ahead and released Agent Payments Protocol, AP2. The Visa basically introduced the trustless agent protocol. PayPal released an agent toolkit. Coinbase built X402 using the HTTP 402 payment required code. So you're seeing every major payment player in the space. They're basically preparing and looking to do agent-driven transactions. Yep. So it just kind of covers it. It's really cool. I'm excited to see kind of like what this actually pans out, because it's all around the XRPL, which is something really well needed. And the reason I saw this was on my radar because somebody from Ripple actually reposted it. Otherwise, sometimes you don't even see it. So it was pretty cool to actually see something like this. But all the things we talk about, Jeff, instant settlement, low cost, all the kind of things that we're traditionally talking about. But traditional finance systems, weren't really designed for autonomous. You think about Visa, talk about the payment processing, right? The percentage-based fees, slow wires, all that same stuff that we chat about here, and why the blockchain infrastructure matters. Why don't you take a couple of these here, Jeff, and take the next two?
As we look at these infrastructure, I think it's really important. The main idea, settlement in seconds, not days. I like this, Chip. Fees that are a fraction of a cent, networks that run 24/7, transactions with you can have programmatically verifiable. I think that's also establishing trust lines. And now some of the takeaways that I thought were interesting with all of this, and as we look at the different blockchains, not every one of them is suitable for payments. I think this is like shining a light on some of the confusion in the space where they're like, oh, this blockchain isn't valuable, Bitcoin isn't valuable, or this one's XRP should be the only one, or Bitcoin should be the only one, or Ethereum. But every single chain has its own value, and it has a certain purpose within the overall economy. And so if we look at Ethereum, what was their big play? Smart contracts and ERC-20s. If it wasn't for Ethereum, I don't think we'd all be talking right now. I think the market would be so small, it'd be insignificant. Bitcoin, nothing. Without Bitcoin, nothing would have happened. But that's the point. So not all are suitable for payments. The XRPL in its core functionality has a whole bunch of economics built into it for the payment infrastructure and beyond that. I like this, prioritizing smart contracts, which I think, again, really important. And here, agentic finance requires payments first, infrastructure. So there have to be some sort of orchestration of transaction to move the money. And if you can automate that, that could be really interesting also.
Yeah, huge. And why XRP and why the XRP ledger really is like a standout here. It really has to do because it was really built for moving value efficiency, right? All the upper things that Jeff just mentioned, those efficiencies and payments, it's the design that really kind of lends itself to this autonomous sort of a world, more so than maybe the traditional ones. Yeah, they're getting in the game. But again, when you're looking at charging 3%, 4.5% up, if you're dealing with like Amex, here we got transactions that really are low, the settlements 3 to 5, all the things we know about the XRPL, and XRP is used directly for fees and value transfer. But, the main things here is these autonomous agents, right? These agentic agents can move money globally without banks, without intermediaries, and the increased agent activity basically is going to go ahead and increases direct XRP usage. We talk about what's going to help the price. Well, the more you're doing in this arena and you're moving, because again, this is not necessarily going to be for the institutional. This is really on our level. And the XRP aligns, specifically with machine-driven financial flows. So you're talking about machine to machine. This is, in a weird way, what is developed kind of like the perfect, absolute 100% use case. Jeff, grab these next one.
Machine to machine. That is interesting. If you think about with the agent establishing the trust line and fulfilling the elements of the smart contract. So if you have the agent replacing all these human element, all the fat that's within a transaction, the banking transaction slowdowns, it's all because of the checks and balance of movement of funds. But then, if you have the IOUs from one bank to the other, through the settlement process, the agents are going to be able to track all of this. And then if you have near instant transaction of settlement, the way these agents are being able to fulfill the full completion of a process is, it could be really, really, amazing. This is the one element that really confused, from without it. The smart contract was great, but you still had human element involved throughout it. But now imagine tracing and tracking. If you have a completion of a smart contract, within exchange of goods flowing cross-border or even in-border, from the different triggers that have to occur, throughout the transaction process. And you have an agent that's now monitoring that versus a human element, from the contractual obligation point, to shipping verification, to receipt verification, to customs clearance verification. All of this stuff, it can now be automated because you have something monitoring it. If it's all recorded in the blockchain with full transparency, trust lines are established. I mean, it's, to me, is really, really important. So here you have regulatory clarity and stability. The main idea here, SEC resolution back in August of 25 clarified XRP's regulatory standing. Enterprises prioritize legal clarity over raw performance metrics, and the Ripple USD RLUSD provides stable pricing for accounting and invoicing purpose for stablecoin. Obviously, really important. That can occur when you're using a crypto asset. I'm watching a conversation with Joe Budd and XRP Hollywood talking about fluctuation, the ups and downs of Flare, and then you correlating, where the valuation of XRP has been, whether it had, like, Flare's from inception to today has been on a steady decline. XRP kind of went through that period of time as well. But the point with that is that crypto asset has fluctuation. The stable coin, the ROUSD, is critical because you want it pegged to the US dollar for transaction purposes within the financial system, for the full infrastructure for Main Street to be efficient. So what are the key takeaways there? XRP handles execution and settlement. RLUSD handles pricing stability. And this combination supports real world enterprise deployment. I think the XRP, it's really the XRPL. I don't know if it's necessarily full fledged with the XRP, but definitely with the XRPL. So,
yeah. And so this company, this org, T54, here's what they're adding to the ecosystem. It's already used. The XRPL is already, we know, is for performance and credibility. And it's really what's necessary when you start getting into agentic finance. So what it lacks is the native interface layer for agents to transact securely and easily. So T54 Labs is building agent native payment infrastructure on the XRPL. And the good thing about this is I could see so many projects and people being able to utilize this, right? It doesn't exist. You create this on the XRPL, and now you've got this amazing sort of ecosystem to be able to make it happen. Because right now it's not going to work. So this is what T54 Labs is building. It'll support mainstream agent payment protocols like X402 and AP2, and then it settles the transaction on the ledger in seconds. So that's going to be huge. And basically, T54 connects autonomous agents directly to XRP rails. This makes XRPL production ready for this agent economy, and XRPL becomes the foundational infrastructure for machine-driven commerce. So it's really cool to see this, and it's really cool to see this too, Jeff. Look at this right here, banger from Jungle Inc.
Jungle,
this, we can see Jungle Inc. with the 999. Thank you, Jungle. Appreciate that. Jungle's doing great work out there. I read this amazing article he wrote about all the money. It's fantastic. Well, I was thinking about breaking it down this show, but it's kind of big and long, so we'll have to maybe we should get Jungle on here. Jungle, why don't we schedule something to have you come on, and we'll chat about it. We'll talk about it on air. So let's figure out a time that works, and we'll get you up here and get you on the air. So maybe even Wednesday night you can kind of stop by and we can kind of workshop some of that. So what do you say, pal? Are you in? Let us know. Let us know if you're in or not, if you're still here. Greenland has the population of 56,000. America should send, by the way, this is just an idea that ALX came up with. He thinks America should send 100,000 undocumented immigrants to culturally enrich the island. So you'll have 56,000 people at 100,000, for the cultural enrichment, Jeff. And then they should be given full rights as citizens, right? Because apparently they love it when it happens in the US. And then finally, they can go ahead and hold a referendum on leaving Denmark for America. There's nothing wrong with this because replacing populations to change the voting demographics, as we all know, is a myth. So I like that idea, Jeff. What do you think?
I don't want the Greenlanders to suffer just because, Denmark, just wants to maintain their stranglehold on that landmass that doesn't belong to them.
Joke. Yeah. I mean, and I still don't understand why it belongs to them anyway. It's like, oh, they belongs to them. That's why. By the way, we're halfway past the the time here, Jeff. Are we doing a?
No music.
There's no music today.
No music.
Are we doing a giveaway? I don't know if we're doing a giveaway. We didn't talk about that.
No giveaway.
No giveaway. All right, no giveaway, guys. That's good because we don't probably have time for it. We won't have time for all of the show prep we put together. We always put together more, but then we end up talking about football and ruin everything.
So much.
We ruin it for everybody,
Yeah.
So I thought this was interesting. Have you heard about the Happy Trump lapel? The Happy Trump? I saw him talk about this the other day in an interview. Look at this.
Got to give all that credit to President Trump. This is he everything that he touches turns to gold.
Somebody gave me this. You know what that is? That's called a happy Trump.
I like it.
And considering the fact that I'm never happy, I'm never satisfied. I will never be satisfied until we make America great again. But we're getting pretty close.
What was funny was somebody asked him, a reporter asked him, so we see the flag, but what the heck is that other thing on your thing? He talked about the Happy Trump. You can see it blown up in there. It's just like a little Trump with a big old Trump head on it.
Tell you what, this is called a happy Trump. Somebody gave it to me. I put it on.
Yeah, he put it on and made that kid rich. The kid was selling them on, I don't know if he saw them on Amazon or wherever he was selling them, but I thought that was pretty fantastic that he was doing that. Jim D says, nothing as idiotic as the EU sending in military units to preempt Trump at the same time U.S. troops are in European nations protecting them from Russia. They sent like 12 people. I saw 12 Germans get off a plane yesterday and get back on a plane today, so I don't know. Yes. I don't think much really happened. Canada was threatening and saying, oh, if you do that, and Macron was threatening. I'm like, dude, please sit down. Just take a seat, okay? And, if anything did happen, they would call it the 6-minute war. And it would be over just like that.
Well, they're getting hit. They're getting hit with some major tariffs, more tariffs.
Yeah, well, good.
So each of like 5 countries are getting an additional 10%. So Germany is currently at 15% tariff. Starting February 1, they're going to be 25% tariff. And if they don't relent on Greenland by June 1, then that's an additional, that 10% goes up to 25. So Germany will be at a 40% tariff. 40%. Talk about how their economy is going to tank.
What are you going to do? Yeah, and then when they get invaded, they're going to be crying like little bitches. Like, can you help us? No, sorry, we can't. Good luck. Hope you guys figure it out. I mean, the armies of the UK, the whole thing's just messed up. You know what? We're tired of supporting you. Figure it out. You guys are so awesome. Jeff, did you ever wonder, like, if you ever see this thing where you go like, okay, you put Greenland over the U.S. and how big is it really? Because you kind of know how big the U.S. is when you that comedian, right? When you kind of compare it, you kind of want to know, because on the one map, it's stretched because of the so-called curve, right? It's stretched out, but Greenland's really not that big when you actually put it in the normal size. Well, somebody took the UK and wanted to see how big it was in relation to Texas. They say everything's bigger in Texas. I gotta kill the music on this. Hang on. God, that music. Anyway, look at this right here. So somebody takes the UK, and what they're going to do is they're going to place it over Texas. Now look at this in size relationship. There you go. There it is. Now they're taking it, moving it across the Atlantic Ocean. There they are. It's on its way. It's on its way to America, and it's setting up shop in Texas. Now look at the size of Texas. And look at how the UK fits into Texas.
Huh.
Isn't that something? It's like Texas is almost twice the size of the UK. Texas. It takes like 2 days to drive across Texas. Look at this right here. There it is. There's Ireland over there, and look at all of Texas. Bam.
Yeah. Yep.
It's insane. I mean, sometimes you look at Texas on a map. You look at 2 cities. And you don't realize how far apart they are. You're like, oh, they look close. No, they're like 12 hours of drive in between them, so yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, oh, okay. So you guys, I think all of Europe sort of fits in half of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's not that big.
So Gregor's saying, hey, you still haven't realized that you're the one paying. So you have to understand the economy and the cost of goods, and then the competitive landscape of the market. So let's say a German car, all right? People are buying the BMW. Are they willing to buy the BMW no matter what the price is? Are they going to pay an additional 40%? Is BMW going to absorb that tariff on their own, or are they going to pass it along to the consumer? So they have to make a decision, because there's still a competitive landscape. People could say, you know what, I'm not willing to pay that. I'm going to go and drive a Cadillac Escalade as an example, or they're going to switch. They're going to switch to a different car. And if you look at other product that come out of the country, are there other competitive products that people can go out and consume and purchase because of the offset of the price valuation of the price increase? So, and again, there's a tipping point. If there's a competitive marketplace, so you take whatever that product is, and there's products coming from other countries, and they have their product, is that company in Germany able to increase their price based on the tariff increase, or do they have to absorb it? It's a market economy. If the other company isn't facing the same tariff and they're not increasing their price, and you're forced to absorb because the other companies, there's no reason for them to increase price because the market dictates that, you're absorbing it. Is it true?
Right.
Yes. In some instances, yes, the cost of goods are going up. Part of that was due to inflation across the board. But yet, and yes, I have product that comes from Germany, and yes, we have had increase in cost, and some of that related directly back to the increase of the manufacturing process, wasn't necessarily directly tied directly back to the tariff. Some might have been tariff, some wasn't, but they also knew valuation in the market. They can't increase their product by that margin because they would no longer be competitive, and no one's going to buy their product. So it's a very simple calculation.
Well, I also have another thing to say about that too, is that what most people don't realize, what Trump's trying to do is people that make 100,000 or less don't pay federal income tax anymore.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is what the Democrats and the politicians don't want you to know about. Now, when you think about governments don't make, they take. With tariffs, Trump creates an alternate way. He can go tell the Federal Reserve to go F themselves. And as record tariffs start coming in, you can basically fuel the government. And if you cut that almost a little over a third of the fraud out, you don't need, most people are going to get away. If you make 400,000 or 500,000, then you'll pay taxes. Most of the people won't. Now, when the Federal Reserve came out, there wasn't any tax. The United States was funded 100% by tariffs until 1913, when in the dead of night, over winter break, they went ahead and they wrote an amendment to the Constitution, and then boom, here comes the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve, the central bank is slave debt. You're living like a slave. I mean, that's what it is. You're enslaved by a third party. When Congress, it's in our Constitution that Congress can coin money, right? The House of Representatives can coin money, and you passed it off to unelected, some bureaucrats that are running it. They can't even manage their own building. This is what Trump's putting them up against. They can't even manage the cost of $3-4 billion on rehabbing and putting up a new building. Why does the Federal Reserve need new buildings? Why do they need rooftop terraces and gardens? Why do they need restaurants inside these things? For what? So Trump's shining a bright light, and he's going to sue him, and he's going to get discovery. And since 1913, over 100 years, it's never been audited. Now, if you're a financial company in the U.S. and you're under the SEC rule, you don't get out without every quarter without financially reporting. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve, a central bank, and then you got the ECB, the European Central Bank, which is probably worse. Now, if you don't think fraud's going on there, I got some amazing swampland at say right around the corner from where I live. You could buy some amazing swampland. It's going to be a great deal for you. So what you're missing here is that, yeah, things are going to change a little bit. They're absorbed, and like Jeff talked about, but you don't think the populace is going to want to not have to pay federal income tax? Whatever you make, you keep. Now in Florida, there's no state income tax. There's 5 or 6 states where there's no state income tax. Now, if you live in New York, you're paying 11%. In New York City, you're paying 11% state tax on top of 30% tax. I mean, almost 50% of what you make is that. Now, if you come up with a methodology to actually help people out and not have to pay that and not have to rely on the Federal Reserve and have your own income stream coming in, it's really going to circumvent the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve can be basically absorbed, but then when you get discovery, so I think what people are missing the broader points of where this thing is going, and it's massive. Now in Florida, we get a chance to vote, Jeff. coming up in November of whether or not we want to pay property taxes. Do we want to pay property taxes? No. Well, guess what? No more property taxes. That's going to spread like wildfires. Can you imagine living in Florida, Jeff? No more property taxes, no more federal income tax. You're freaking rich because you're paying all this money. So this is what you guys are missing on a broader scale. I think that I think you just
almost everybody misses that point. Not it, but a lot of people are missing the bigger picture, just like the bigger picture of why Greenland's significant, why the action in Venezuela was significant, and why what's about to happen in Iran is very significant. But it's amazing to me, people in other countries, they don't understand the U.S. They don't understand Americans. They don't understand our republic or our Constitution. Right. Americans are not the most scared people in the world. We don't see a ghost. I feel really sorry for you because you can't own a gun and you can't own the quantity of guns that we can own. I was at the gun range today, laid out everything, and we had fun. We had 3 stalls going, and it was great. And so, is it it's an American pastime? Do we have a right to own guns? You're damn right. Well, right, we do, because it's the Second Amendment in our Constitution. Oh, something you don't have. You probably don't have a constitution that tells the government what they can't do, and you don't have a constitutional right to own a gun. I feel really bad for you, not because we're scared, and we don't see ghosts behind every bush, because it's our right to do, and it's there to protect this republic from enemies that are foreign and domestic. So there's purpose behind it. We have a constitution, and think about our First Amendment and Second. First Amendment's freedom of speech, probably something you don't have either in whatever country you live in.
First of all, come out from the shadows and let's hear what country you're from so we can have some fun. Right. This is where the real enjoyment for us kicks in. Knowing what country you're from. Go ahead. I mean, if you're afraid to
gun obsessed. Another reason you have no idea. It's not a gun obsession.
It's to protect from tyranny. That's why you don't understand. You don't understand what's going on in America because you never studied American history. You never realized why we seceded from Great Britain. You don't even know that. But what you're missing, the bigger point is, it's not to protect ourselves. It's to protect against the government. I guarantee where you are, you're someone's bitch. That's what I'm going to say. If you're living over in Europe, I can't wait to find out whose bitch you are, because you are sitting there in your own dance, little puppet. You got freedom of speech as long as we agree with it. Good luck. I can't wait to see where you're from. This will be the best part of the entire show right here. Whose bitch are you? Let's find out.
Oh yeah. Open carry. We have open carry in Florida.
Yeah, open carry here, open Texas, going with a rifle. Country, yeah. And you know what's funny? When you have places where guns are carried, there are no mass shootings. You know where the mass shootings happen? Where guns aren't allowed. Jeez, that sounds like Europe to me. But people getting hit by knives, getting raped, all kinds of stuff.
It's UK tradition to use gloves and knives.
Jim D bringing the humor today. Yeah. And you know what's funny is when you ask somebody like where they're from, yeah, okay, gun obsessed idiots. Sure, gun obsessed idiots. Well, where I live, there aren't any shootings. You know why? Because everybody's carrying. You know what keeps people honest? Carrying. So good luck. And it's weird. Like you can level this comment, but where are you from? 0. Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed of your country? Because your country's so great. Please tell us where you're from. See that? Nothing. We're idiots and you're this. And the funny part about even like friends I have that from Europe, they don't understand tyranny. What's that? I'm like, it's what you're living under, douchebag. You are living under tyranny. Well, what are we going to do? Look at the UK. They're all up in arms. Like, we're mad. We can't. Everyone, the invaders came and they're taking over everything. Well, what are you going to do about it? They took your guns. What happened in Australia? Yeah, of course. Of course. Well, Alberta's going to succeed and be laughing. It's Saskatchewan. I'll be right behind it. First of all, if you want to see who's going to preside over the collapse of Canada, his name is Mark Carney. He destroyed the Bank of England over there, so now he's coming to destroy Canada. Canada's gone.
It's Sweden. It's a country I haven't been to yet. I've been wanting to go there, but
it might have been Sweden.
How's your auto industry, by the way? Volvo was their pride, and it's owned by a Chinese company.
Yeah. How is the rape culture over there? That's all I see from news things from Sweden, how everybody's been raped and how everyone that. And then what do? They give them a slap on the wrist. That's okay. We don't want to be called, we don't want to be labeled racist. So you guys destroyed your country by letting the invaders in. I see.
I would love to go there. I still want to see how.
I'd love to see Sweden too. I mean, used to have the most beautiful women in the world. Now, I don't know, man. Now all they do is get raped. I mean, it's pretty much what happens. They just pretty much get almost every article or news thing I see about Sweden, the makeup of Sweden. And if I follow, what is his name? Peter Sweden, if you follow him he'll tell you all about it. How bad the culture is there and everything else. And it's just a shame what happened to your country. Great country, great traditions, and you let the invaders in and you let them take over.
I used to own Saabs. I loved Saab. Saab was my favorite car. I had 4 or 5
sorry about that, Jeff. I'm really sorry about that. Jeez, I wouldn't admit Volvo. There's 2 cars I would never admit to owning, Volvo or Saab. That would be the 2 I would never even admit to.
Saab is kind of like a cult. I had a 900 turbo. That was my first one. And then I had a 900 S convertible, replaced that with another convertible. Then I had the 9.3 4-door sedan. That's when GM took over, I think in 97, I believe. Then I had a 4-door sedan, then I had another convertible, and then I had a 6-speed version it had a V6. That was really nice. I love Saabs. And then
I'm embarrassed for you. Saab. I had a buddy that had a Saab, and I'm like, please don't stand in the same room.
Jungle's first car was.
Look at this. In 2014, Sweden declared itself of having the world's first feminist government. They opened the borders. Now there's 68,000 women in Sweden that are genitally mutilated. A 7-year-old girl was mutilated at a mosque that was funded with taxpayer money. Fantastic. Yeah. Here you go. Hate speech, a term used by the left to silence anyone they dislike. Oh, no, we have freedom. Don't worry. You can say anything you want to the left. Hate speech, just any speech they don't like, made speech free again. This guy reports on all things going on over Swedish taxpayers. Money is now going to genital mutilation of young girls, over and over again. I mean, it's nonstop. A man who was an Iraqi citizen was convicted of raping a 100-year-old woman in Sweden. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. He was not deported. Amen. A study in Sweden found that 63% of convicted rapists have a foreign background. That feminist movement did some damage. They got a 4.0 in damage. Sweden is now one of the highest number of reported rapes in the world. Let's see.
What else does Sweden make other than they used to have the Saab, they used to have Volvo. What else did they make? Was there anything else that came out of Sweden that we should know about? I'm trying to think what other product, because there were a lot of firsts, and the automotive turbo came from Saab. There were a couple like unique automotive innovations that came out of Sweden, specific from Saab. But Saab was first. It was Saab still exists as a aircraft engine company.
Jeff, how about this? Isn't it crazy that Sweden has one of the highest number of reported rapes in the world, but it's illegal for women to carry pepper spray for self-defense? You crazy, obsessed pepper spray rejects. God, you're crazy.
Somebody said, wait a minute. Why can't I find it? Who caused the refugee flows? What refugee flows? Into Europe? I don't think the U.S. had anything to do with the refugee flow into Europe.
We have nothing to do with it.
In our country,
Joe Biden brought 25 million people in.
Definitely brought a huge number into this country. So yes, they were responsible into our country, but I don't think the U.S. had any hand in what you guys have done over in Europe. You guys did that to yourselves.
Well, it talked about the feminist government. 2014 is when the borders opened. Look at how a once great country got destroyed. Okay, that's a good one.
Sweden made this?
If that's true, I'll take that. That's a great invention. A teacher at school in Sweden was caught using the Quran to drive out demons from disabled children in her class. This happened in Malmo, which is now ranked as dangerous as Baghdad. Okay. A municipal Swedish politician is now in court and risking 6 months in prison. His crime? He refused to take migrants to his city of Staffanstorp. And if politicians don't agree with open borders, they now risk prison. I don't know, man. Doesn't look good.
XRP Hollywood.
We do protect right on XRP Hollywood with our guns.
Tron said the only ones obsessed with guns are the ones trying to take them away. Like
That's
Sweden.
right. Well, then they go like this. They hear these school shootings, right? What is it always? A leftist with crazy eyes hopped up on every so-called depression medication without fail every single time, and they always strike in a gun-free zone. So there's some stats for you. But you know where they don't strike? Where people carry. So you don't hear about these mass shootings in Texas. There was one. You remember that time when someone opened fire in a restaurant and 3 people pulled out their guns and shot them in the head? You remember that?
Yeah.
That didn't happen again. You never heard about a story like that happening again because people are carrying. But most of it is to protect against the government. There's 335 million Americans. There's 360 million guns. You do the math. Oh, and you want to see the other breakdown? The right has the guns. The left has blue hair dye. I'm just saying. You know, they have blue hair dye, Jeff.
Saying.
Isn't that right? Am I wrong? By the way, there was a study that was recently done on that blue hair dye. Did you see this one, Jeff? Did you see this study? Listen to this.
Lab findings has the CDC warning liberal women to avoid pink and blue hair dye. We take you now to the CDC.
The dyes not only led to an increase in aggressive behavior, but the mice also developed unusual vocal capabilities.
Trump, Trump, patriarchy!
Set that one up perfect, Jeff. Teed it up. Big swing. Home run, baby. Home run. Listen, man, I'm just kidding. Sweden's an awesome country. I'd love to visit it one day. I'd love to have Swiss chocolate. Yeah, that's another big thing. But I'd love to have. Isn't Toblerone? Is that from Sweden? Toblerone, or where's that from?
We have some Swiss chocolate in the fridge.
Toblerone. And I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Apologies for that. Swiss chocolate bar. Yeah, Toblerone. Everyone knows that.
You're saying it in American English.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you pronounce it, man. What do you want? What do you want from me?
No.
I don't know anything about Sweden. It's like you don't know anything about America. There it is right there. Boom.
Toblerone.
I know that. That's very good chocolate.
Good.
There's other great Swiss chocolate. Swiss.
I don't know.
Making
I
things. Swiss. I think that's an American invention. They put a little Swiss girl on there, with the Alps in the background. The Swiss. It's like, sure, that's what it is.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Holy cow, Jeff. I'm gonna tell you what a crazy thing, man. Oh, my eyes are tearing up. I'm having so much fun here. It's too much.
God, that's
too much.
That's the best one. Dude, where is Sweden on a map? I don't know. Is it in South America somewhere?
South America. It's part of the EU, I think. Jeff, we were talking about machine to machine before? Remember we were talking about machine to machine, like machines talking to machines? Yeah. What happens if you have 2 phones and you call a Chinese takeout and you put them on the phone together? It goes something like this.
Yeah, how can I help you? Hello? Yeah, how can I help you? Is it Chinese restaurant? Yeah, how can I help you? Yeah. What? Yeah. What can I order? How can I help you? What do you mean? It's Chinese restaurant. How can I help you, baby? You want to order or no? What do you mean? Don't talk. It's Chinese restaurant. I don't call you. You call me. No, I don't call you. No, I don't call you.
Man.
You know what's funny, Chip? As I was thinking about it, we went from talking about Sweden to talking about Switzerland.
I know. I realized that when we were halfway through, but I thought we'd just slip it through. It's all the same to me, Jeff. It's Europe. You know what I mean?
I saw this and goes Swiss Army knives. I'm like, yeah, we started talking about
I was like, and then next thing we'll talk about, let's slide into a Norway conversation next,
That was
You even know where Sweden is on a map? Well, do we care? Ask me if I care where it is on a map.
No, I don't. Does anybody know where Idaho is?
Yeah. Do you know where North Dakota is? I mean, who cares? Does anybody care? Nobody cares. I don't think anybody cares, Jeff.
How about Wyoming? Do they even know what Wyoming is?
They've never heard of Wyoming, Jeff. Nobody knows. Here it is right here.
What's the capital of Florida? Who cares where?
Who knows? Who knows? I know I've
It's all
never,
in good jet.
I
And
know
I'm
I've never
glad,
been there
I'm
before.
glad that Gregor's here with us. Gregor 589. We appreciate
Yeah, we
you for
appreciate you,
being
man. We're just goofing on you. That's
and
fine.
also being here and commenting. This is the best part of being on the show is having
So,
people that we can have discourse
yeah, of
with
course, man.
and
It's
have
fun.
fun with it. So I
Of
just want to
course,
throw
we're
that
just
out
messing
there.
around with you. But
Gregor had
seriously,
mentioned that he lives in Sweden.
no, I knew it was in
and,
that area, but there is right there. There's Sweden, there's Finland, and Norway right there.
Yeah.
There you go.
How big is it landmass wise?
Oh, look at Sweden's twice the size of the UK.
So landmass, it's pretty big.
It's
a pretty big country.
indeed.
Norway's pretty big too.
Indeed. Let's just make this bigger. Open in maps. Let's do that. There we go. There we go. Let's sit there.
On the lake.
It's half, between Norway and Finland and Sweden, it's like it's half of the freaking place, man. Look at that.
It's a
if you lay that across, those three are bigger than all the rest of,
I'd love to go there. I want to see what the northern part, because like the northern part of Norway.
Anybody from Finland.
Sweden is like.
From Helsinki.
Throughout. I wonder if Sweden has the same topography as Norway with the waterfalls and the whole area. It was just very beautiful.
A lot of great startups out of Stockholm. I know that for a fact. I've run across plenty of them. Oh man, Sweden's a great country. It's like, but we're not gun obsessed, man. We're just protecting ourselves from.
Sweden isn't, but they don't have a constitution.
Isn't Sweden where Stockholm Syndrome term was coined? They're bringing it. Greenland is much bigger. Yeah, it's fun. Well, it depends on which map. I mean, you look on these, like these Greenland's not that big, by the way. Greenland it's all stretched out. It looks like it's huge on a map.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how big. Greenland looks like it's bigger than North America. No, not so. Let's see. True size of Greenland. Here we go.
Wow.
If you were to put this in
Sweden's top exports are dominated by high-tech machinery, vehicles, not cars anymore. I guess some of the cars might still be.
There's Iceland. If you were to put, Greenland. If you take Greenland, Iceland's even smaller. But if you put Greenland on the U.S., that's what it would be. Minnesota, South Dakota, Kansas, it's Oklahoma, Texas, right? So that's the size. It's not this mass. It looks like it's bigger than everything on Earth. It's not. It's because of the stretched out globe part. But yeah, the Mercator map. Yeah, that's right.
Sweden is still smaller.
Mercator, still smaller than Texas. Everything's smaller than Texas.
Texas is massive.
Yeah, it's big, baby. It's a
Jeff,
big.
how does it fit on flat Earth?
I don't know. Same size. It just doesn't change. Just flattened out. It's so funny because I looked at the route that we took to Tokyo.
It's weird, right?
No, it's not weird. If on a flat map, it's a straight line. Just saying, Jeff.
But when you look at it, otherwise,
you know how many pilots I've asked them?
Northwest, and then you're coming down.
No, but on a straight line on a globe, it would go like that. But on a flat Earth map, it goes. And I don't even like the word flat Earth. On a realistic Earth, let's put it that way. On a realistic Earth, an actual sort of a size, it's a straight line. It's always a straight line, by the way. It's not like so. I always wondered, like, why would you fly up across the U.S. when you go to the UK? Every time I go to the UK, well, if you look on this, it's a straight line every time.
Yep.
Every time.
No, they can't fill the. Well, Sweden could probably fill the big house, but
yeah, Greenland. Greenland has 56,000. No, not going to happen. Plane of existence. You know how many times I've asked pilots? I'm like, hey, this is a dumb question, man. I'm just curious. In your opinion, like, is the Earth kind of like roundish, or is it kind of like more flat? And the guy's like, flat. Pilots. I go, do you have to adjust for the curvature? He goes, no. I go, does it automatically adjust? He's like, no. I was like, well, but then I've known pilots that have argued this up and down. I'm like, well, how do you adjust for the curvature? Because based on the size and how fast you're going, you have to adjust you're constantly adjusting where you're having to point, down. He goes, no. And the guy's like, well, no, it just flies normal. But how? I'm going to get in that discussion right now. I've done a lot of research on this, Jeff. There's something they're not telling us. I don't know what it is. It's because stuff that's supposed to be under a curve isn't. You can clearly see it, which was great when you didn't have cameras that could zoom, have that really powerful zoom, where it looks like it's over the curve, and then you zoom it, and then there it is, and then wait a minute, we were told so it's the Earth is way bigger than what they're telling us, or there's something else at play.
Called airplane, not air curve.
Yeah, flathead. Yeah, I assume flat earthers have never climbed a mountain. Oh, I have.
But you're not talking
flat
about
Earth is a really bad term to use, because I don't think even the flat earthers think it's flat. I'm not saying it's not flat. There is, topography and stuff.
There you go.
See, it's like a pizza pan with an ice wall. 100%.
Ice wall.
Yeah, it's so funny how you can't, like, there's certain places on Earth you can't go. Well, why is that? Why is the only treaty ever in the existence in the entire world everybody still agrees with? Like, with all the countries who don't agree on anything, we have politicians that live in any country don't agree on anything, but every country agrees that you can't travel to certain places. They have a treaty signed since the 50s, and everybody's in agreement. That's not weird. Okay. What do I know?
Weird.
So very weird. Nobody can agree on anything. I mean, but every country's agreed. Yep, we can't travel there. Why is that? And how come, like, when that's the shortest distance, you can't go that way? Why? What's the thing?
That's because Superman lives there.
That's where his ice palace is. He's got his
ice palaces. But they
trying to bust through the firmament. Yeah, the firmament. Exactly. Because they have the biggest guns. There it is. It's pretty simple. Bumpy in some places, smoother in others. There you go.
It does seem odd.
Yeah, there's a lot of oddities going on. There's so many things that I just wonder, like, there's something different. So I can get that it's bigger. That can make sense. And how come there's no pictures of the Earth from space? People go, that's reason, like, the composites. There is not a photo of the Earth from space. And I used to always see like this, you always see like this little zoomed in little area. And but no, it's, I'm sure I must be kooky.
Mm-hmm.
NASA makes $15 billion a year in taxes on that fraud. Yes. Makes Minneapolis look like child's play. Yeah, it does. And what do they do with it? Especially if you have Elon Musk, right? Name any country on Earth with 10 million inhabitants that manufactures airplanes, submarines, trains, cars, and everything in between. Let's see.
Sweden.
I'm going to go with Sweden. Did I win?
I'll take Sweden for $1,000, please.
I'll take it for $100. I'll grab it. Any country with 10 million inhabitants. It's pretty good. But until it lasts, when you bring in the replacements, man, your culture's done, dude. It's over. And that's what you don't want to see. You want to see that tradition, that long-standing tradition continue.
What's our actual population?
10 million.
Let's see. That can't be. That's too small.
Yeah. Just ask.
10 million? That's it?
That's it.
Yeah. They have a big landmass for only 10 million people.
Well, Jeff, it's cold up there too.
10 million.
You got to give us some credit there, Jeff.
20% of the population. 30% is pretty fast. Canada has an issue. They have 30 million and they're already, tipping. So think about in terms of population.
First of all, Stockholm has so many cool startups. There's so much tech. You guys have a lot of tech too. That's really awesome. Yeah. A lot of really great tech. A lot of cool startups there. Because it's not only the traditional stuff, but you have startups. But man, just take care of your culture, man. Everybody has to preserve their culture. Keir Starmer came out, Jeff, and he said that Greenland is for Greenlanders. But if you say Great Britain is for Britons, you get tossed in the clink. You get thrown right in jail for that. You can't say that, but you can say Greenland is for Greenlanders. You can't say Great Britain is for Britons. You can't say that. Ireland is for the Irish. No, nope. Can't say that. Sweden is for Swedes. Nope. Can't say that. Called a racist. You don't want to be called a racist. The Earthrise pick from Apollo 8. Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to rename it to Orangeland.
And the other thing that I did some research on, if you look at, this is the size of the Earth. This is the size of the moon. If you look at a profile image, I had Grok try to do this and Grok failed miserably. But if you have the Earth like this, you have this little tiny, the moon, and it's this far away from the Earth. But when you see a shot from the moon to the Earth looks like it's tiny and it's really far away. First of all, the size is wrong, number one. I'm like, you could have at least done a little bit of
That's kind of-
research before this.
That
Look
is
at a
kind of
side
bizarre.
profile, Jeff.
Earth should be massive.
It should be massive, and it's just in the. It looks like the moon, like you're looking at the moon from Earth. Something's wrong, Jeff. I mean, I'm not buying it. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's
With
not.
my camera with a telephoto lens on it, when I capture, I can, or my telescope, you can see all the little craters and divots, and it's really cool to look at the moon. So imagine you're on the moon, you just have a basic telescope. What could you see of the Earth? You could see a whole bunch of things. Be pretty impressive. You're gonna have to try it out. Who's up for going to the moon?
Yeah, I look at all these pictures and I just laugh. I would like to live on the moon for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these images are just hilarious. You look at the size of it.
Old Town Vallejo is gonna go to get some waterfront property on the moon.
Water. There's water all over the moon. There's water all over the moon. Just look at this picture here, Jeff. Come on, well, it's not a picture. It's artwork. You see this one right here? That's not even the right size.
Well, that's not a picture. That's just a
right. It's a drawing, but that's wrong. I mean, the relationship. But even if it were, how would that look like tiny? How would that look like what you see in these pictures? It wouldn't. It just wouldn't, Jeff.
There are no green yetis.
There's no green yetis yet. We haven't even gotten into the good. We haven't even gotten to the good yetis.
That's right. We did the blue and the white yetis are pretty kick-ass. But wait till you see, man, the purple, the black tribe, and then if we ever roll out a green tribe, that would be pretty cool. I think that would be nice.
That would be like the Grinches.
Why doesn't the moon spin? It just hovers.
Yeah, but the Earth is traveling how many millions of miles away, the heliocentric model, and it's flying all over the place. And the same stars for 2,000 years are still sitting there. Someone shot a video going from Brazil, going up to North America, the same freaking stars the entire way, but it's spinning and it's flying through the universe, 666 miles. Same stars. Weird, right? That's not weird.
You know what I forgot to check when we were in Australia is which way the toilet flushed.
But that's been debunked though, Jeff. They've figured out ways you can. Yeah, it did. Look at this right here. You're here, and so there you go, right there. There's a side-by-side comparison, right? And look at this. Look at the size of the freaking Earth compared to the moon. But look at the pictures you see supposedly taken from the moon on the Apollo missions. Right?
We should have a live feed of the Earth from the moon. They should send something up there.
Some guy did a whole paper on the fact that they never had the technology. Now, I'm not saying they didn't go. I'm just saying that what they showed us wasn't real. They projected it on a wall, and then the TV cameras filmed off of the wall. So it was all pretty. They didn't have the technology to even send the signal back. Some guy did a whole paper. I wish I could find that. It was really.
They did it live too.
It's really a cool thing,
right? Weren't they broadcasting live?
Yeah, Jeff. They were broadcasting live. Sure, they were. That's what they told us. Of course, they were recording. Why would they be broadcasting live, Jeff? Of course they would. So let's do.
That'd be pretty cool. We should go up there and see if we can stream from up there. That'd be pretty kick-ass.
That'd be funny. Now this is the famous picture you always see, Jeff. Look at this. Okay,
you just need to start.
Look at this here. Here we go. There it is. Look at that, Jeff.
It's pretty big.
It's a dot. It's not pretty big at all. Look at the side-by-side comparison. This is the profile and how far away it is. Look at this.
See it again? Go back to the picture.
Come on, dude.
It's kind of like the moon.
Right. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this is not. And the actual picture of this, it's all been fudged and stuff. Look, and why is this part like they say because of the sun? Yeah. Well, where's the sun lighting on this? I'm sorry. And they were sitting on. And here's the other thing, Jeff. If you're on the moon, you'd be sitting on the top of the moon to be looking straight out. Otherwise, you'd be looking straight up like this. And so you wouldn't have this. This is taken from the very top. of the Earth. You wouldn't have this in front of you. You would only have black if you were looking straight up. Where they landed,
unless it was setting or rising.
where the Sea of Tranquility was. Well, sure, but where the Sea of Tranquility is somewhere, you know, you can look at this picture over here. It's right around here in the middle. This shot looks like it's taken off the top where you're seeing some of this. You wouldn't see any of that. I'm just saying, I have all these questions. I don't know. I have more questions than I have answers. Just saying.
I've never heard of crypto.
I don't know what crypto is. I'm bored with crypto, I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I like politics and I like conspiracies and never heard of crypto.
Sweden and the moon.
This is right. It's 2026. We should have a live camera feed of Earth. Did you ever see Buzz Aldrin? He goes like, well, remember the little girl asked the 9-year-old girl, well, what about, when are we going back to the moon? He goes, well, you know, we never went to the moon. It'd be great if we did. You know, it's like, and then how about the famous speech when Trump's talking about, you know, NASA and going to the moon and he's all making faces like in the background.
Where's the moon car?
That moon car costs like $32 million. It's 2 folding chairs, you know, from
leave it there?
2 lawn chairs.
They left it there.
Well, the best part was they supposedly had it in the lunar module, right? Which, if you've ever seen this at the Smithsonian, you could barely fit like anybody in this freaking thing. But they had that packed away in there, and then it's like wrapped up with duct tape. I'm calling bullshit on that. And they somehow got past the Van Allen belts, which is massive radiation. And then you got the new NASA guys saying we haven't figured out how to get past the Van Allen belts. So they didn't have radiation suits on, and none of the astronauts died. Gotcha. How about we never went? Good, amazing hoax, dude. Amazing. You got to give the U.S. some props for that hoax. But anyway, we're off on a tangent as usual. That's one of the greatest things about watching On the Chain. We will get off target. We will get off.
That's it.
That's
water. Yeah. Those are kind of cool to watch.
Well, what's fun is sometimes you see the bubbles. Sometimes you see in it. There's that famous one of when they were releasing a satellite, when they had the space shuttle, and you see like a guy come up and then he comes back down. You know, it's like a model.
Just filled by 1 cent flare order. There you go.
Did you? 1 cent.
1 cent of order for each 1 cent. I get it.
Yeah, space radiation.
Oh, it's at a cent right now. It's down.
There you go.
Down 81% for the year. But it's down.
Jeff, it is that time, Jeff. We have to get out of here, Jeff.
It is that time. Yes.
You have to be a Freemason to be an astronaut. Mars is supposedly in Algeria. Yeah, well, people have lined up what they thought Mars was, and then like they colored it. It's exactly the same terrain. Come on, man.
What?
The best thing Elon Musk ever said was he goes, you know why space has to be real? Because it looks so fake. I'm like, I love that guy. Because it looks so fake is what he said. When he had the car drifted around. It's too much, man. It really is too much. Yeah, the Mars photos. Yeah, this is Mars. And then they caught, like, people have zoomed in and they found like props that have like writing on them, you know, dropped on there. They found like discarded trash and stuff. Sure. Okay. Must be Mars.
We're on the moon.
Sure it is. I'm sure they wouldn't try to. I'm sure that the governments would never try to deceive us, Jeff. They're always telling us the truth about everything. Why would they try to deceive us? It's the dumbest thing in the world. Of course they wouldn't. That's just ridiculous. And this is a good point too. Here it is. If it's on TV, why would they lie?
It's got to be. Well, it's true.
Why would they? There's 15 billion reasons why. Yeah, exactly.
Everything on TV is true.
It's all true, Jeff. They've told us that, and I totally believe 100%. I think you'd be crazy not to think that's not true.
And Mars bars.
Yeah, right. Exactly. See, I'm not so crazy, Jeff. You see people like they're like something ain't right, man. Something's off. We've been sold a bunch of sold down the river here, you know. And the fly on Mars rover was impressive. Yeah, that was the other one. The fly. Remember, they zoomed in on it was a dead fly that was sitting on the front of it. You know, sure.
Good stuff.
Dead fly. This is, you know, I'm not saying Mars isn't there. I'm just saying we didn't go there. And how about this technology, Jeff, that we supposedly deployed back right between the early 80s of this flying into other solar systems, and it's still shooting stuff back to us?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that part out.
Sure.
How's it broadcasting? What is it broadcasting with?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't even. For some reason, we're supposed to buy that. Then they had the Hubble telescope. Was supposed to take these amazing photos. Remember that? But the Hubble, they deployed the Hubble telescope, right? But the Hubble telescope couldn't take a picture of Earth.
Yeah.
But it couldn't take a photo of Earth. And the ones that are released by NASA, you got the guy talking about the fact they're composites.
Because it's
aliens are laughing. Yeah. They are laughing, all right. They're having a good laugh. Did you see the new Star Trek? They ruined it, Jeff. God, it's the most woke. Apparently, everybody else got the woke memo except for Star Trek. It's the biggest pile of garbage I've ever seen.
I watched it first.
Abe Lincoln posted on Reddit, of course. Has the tech of a Game Boy. I don't even think it has the tech of a Game Boy. I don't even think it's that advanced.
It wasn't that advanced.
It was the 70s.
No. Yeah. It didn't have that kind of tech.
And then you know that one NASA scientist
data.
He said that they lost all the material. Like they probably could go back, but they'd have to figure it out again. It's a real NASA scientist. He goes, because they lost the technology to go there. Right.
Elon Musk about that too, though.
Sure. Okay.
We don't have it in the history books, and there's no one alive that was there at the time.
Same fly space that landed on Obama's nose during his TV interview, whacked it and said, "Got it, sucker." Of course, Mike Pence didn't do the same. He had that fly in his head. No one even knew what he said. They were just looking at that stupid fly. Anyway, guys, we got to get out of here. We got to get.
Which all of this goes back to the whole point that we're actually living in some sort of a matrix.
Simulation.
A simulation, right? Makes more sense.
It does make more sense, really, when you think about it.
See, the body structure, is very mechanical. All the robots you start really analyzing how things happen within the body.
Okay, now you're talking crazy talk. Everything I was with you everywhere, but now you're crazy. Imagine
the body. When you break the body down into the cell structure, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and you know what else there isn't? There's no God either. So you want you to think that we're just infinite and it's bigger than anything you can imagine. It goes on forever.
It does.
It's weird. It's not what the Bible says. The reason the Bible calls it a firmament. It's the reason it outlines it as a firmament. So, and yet full of gas. Yeah, who's the one scientist in the 60s who said you could never go to the moon. You can't actually land on it because it's made out of gases and this and that. And how about those people that take these pictures and it's transparent? You can kind of see through it sometimes.
Is that the moon?
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of pictures of the moon. It's never been.
I always thought it was made out of cheese. It turns out I don't even know if it's made of cheese. That'd be awesome. It's a lot of cool cheese.
The cheese, man.
Swiss cheese. The best cheese there is. It's one of my favorites, man. All right, we got to get out of here. I mean it.
All right, let's get out of here. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half. We got to go. We got important things to do. I don't know what they are, but there's something, Jeff. Swiss cheese.
That's right. It is Swiss cheese.
It is Swiss cheese. Yeah, that's what it is. Fantastic.
From Switzerland.
From Switzerland, yeah. From Sweden. Swiss cheese from Sweden.
Sweden and the Swiss chocolate from Sweden.
I learned something today. I learned that 10 million people have figured out how to be very self-sufficient.
That's good.
I really like that. Well, guys, we'll see you guys in the next one. We'll be here back Wednesday night with some more potential crypto news, potential politics.
We're supposed to have a political guest on, so I'm not sure.
Is it going to happen on Wednesday or no?
Supposed to. Get confirmation tomorrow.
We'll get confirmation and I'll work on the thumbnail. We'll get that up.
Yes.
Right. Political guest potentially coming in on Wednesday, so don't miss it. Be a great interview. We'll see you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Oh.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.